What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Dina and we're in the garden today. It's been super busy lately, that's why you haven't seen quite as many videos from me and things like garden tours and such. We're doing a lot of work on our house right now, and if you've ever had a lot of work done on your house with contractors coming in and out, you know how it is. So we've just been having our hands a little bit more full than usual. We actually haven't been growing quite as much produce as we usually do. For instance, I'm not growing eggplants this year, so I just stuck with the must-haves. Got cucumbers in the tunnel, we have some tomatoes, herbs of course, and watermelons over here. We've been harvesting lots of watermelons. I just enjoyed about a quarter of a Jubilee watermelon with Diva over here, and I've got the other dogs out here so you might see them. But this video is solely because I'm making a very special announcement at the end of the video, or it might be towards the middle. But I just wanted to show you a few things we have going on. Of course, we have our beautiful hibiscus bush. I just put out a video on how to make hibiscus tea that I really love, so please check that out. Super fun. I'll show you some of the melons we have going on. So I have a few different kinds of melons growing. We've got some Jubilee melons. We've got some Tuscan melons. There's another Jubilee down here. But they're getting pretty big. I harvested a 20-pounder today, which I was super happy with. Most of these raised beds are planted with melons right now. I do have sweet potatoes in a couple of them where I previously had regular potatoes. I like to come right behind after I harvest my regular potatoes and plant my sweet potato slips. Down here we have our strawberry patch that is throwing out tendrils right now. Here's an example of how the strawberry throws out tendrils. Now, strawberry plants spread on their own. We started out with just a small cluster of these strawberries, and when they stop producing, they throw out these tendrils. And you can see right here, you see that little baby root right there? They'll actually root themselves. Klaus wants to say hello. They'll actually root themselves, like this one has done. Even through the wood chips, they'll root themselves. So let me see if I can move it here. I'm actually not really upset if I uproot this. But you can see that root has gone through the wood chips and is rooting itself, and they'll just continue to do this every season, and that's how my strawberry patch has spread. You can see the roots right there. So that's pretty cool. I've been succession planting melons. This is one of my younger melon plants. Hey Klaus, what are you doing, bud? I don't think he knows that the strawberries are done for now, but he's gonna check anyways. We'll go into this gated part of the garden where I've been harvesting Swiss chard for my daily green smoothies. I actually just kind of pruned this one down. And then right behind me right here is another sweet potatoes patch. Now this sweet potato bed is the one where I've gotten my biggest harvest of sweet potatoes I've ever had. I'll link that video below if you have not seen it. Willie was actually there with me harvesting. Check this out. I don't know if you guys look at this eucalyptus plant. This thing is huge. I love eucalyptus. Someday I want to make my own essential oils. This is my first time having eucalyptus in the garden. We planted it last fall and it has just exploded this season. We have a lot of volunteer amaranth growing in the garden. I've actually had to cut some of that down because I don't want it to go to seed and have this everywhere. But it's pretty cool to have around. Around my sweet potato patch, my asparagus is finally taken off. For the very first time, I have grown and eating some fresh asparagus. It is the most tender and delicious asparagus I've ever had in my life. It takes 3 years. That one's kind of like about the flower. It takes 3 years for asparagus to grow. Asparagus, my bad. So this has been a cool experiment. And moving along though. Of course, we have cherry tomatoes. Now the way we've grown tomatoes this year is a little bit different than years in the past. It's less crazy, let's say. We've done the single leader stem method, but let more than one stem take off, and then have just kind of weaved it through the cattle panel trellis, and it's been very manageable. I come out every day or every other day and clip the suckers off. And if you don't know what a sucker is, I will link my tomato video below so you know exactly how to prune for a single leader stem method. And I highly recommend growing it in this manner. You can see down here where it starts from a single stem, and then you let certain suckers grow, but then like cut off most of them, and then you can manage it and train them throughout the trellis. This one right here is a sun gold cherry tomato. The other one was a sweet 100, that first plant I showed you. This is one of my favorite plants ever. Rosemary. Rosemary is a perennial, so you don't have to do anything once you plant it. It just comes back every year, comes back stronger if you've got your good soil going. And because we grew so many carrots this year, I've been enjoying a lot of rosemary, roasted rosemary carrots in the oven. Let me tell you, delicious, delicious. Let's move over here. This is funny. I've had some volunteer pea plants, which is cool. I planted peas at the very, very beginning of spring. I also have a video that I'll link below so you can see all my pea plants. And it's pretty cool that we've had some volunteers. There's some other volunteers right here, right here, and right here. So I don't know, we'll see if we get some beans off of it, or some peas off of those. But it's always just fun to have volunteer plants in the garden, as long as they're not you know, taking over any space that you need for something else. This right here, that one that was starting to flower, that one was a little bit bitter. Otherwise, the most delicious asparagus ever. This is our first year growing black tomatoes. So this is a Brandywine, a true black Brandywine tomato. I think that's the name. Those have been super good. I'll put some screenshots here so you can see what they look like on the outside a little bit better and on the inside. The cherry tomatoes have been super good this season. Here's a sun gold. And they're growing tall. They're growing past my trellis now. Here's our celebrity tomato plant right behind me. This thing has put off, I've probably harvested like 25 tomatoes from this one plant right here. I actually like to pick my tomatoes when they're blushing to about that point right there. That keeps the bugs away. That gives you a perfect tomato, and they'll continue to harvest on your tabletop. So I like to do that. And in my 5 years of experience growing tomatoes, there's no taste difference between letting it harvest on the vine and picking it at that point that I showed you. Actually, when you buy tomatoes at the store, usually they pick them green, and because they are in transit for so long, they're even more green than what I just showed you, like all the way green, and then they ripen on the truck and as they're sitting in the store. So we got a little volunteer pepper plant from my pepper plant last year. It was more of an ornamental pepper. You can eat it, but I'm not huge on the spicy, like the real hot peppers. And this one just has such beautiful foliage that I really just grew it because it's pretty, which I don't do a lot, but I think everything's pretty. This is a Santaka pepper, also known as Asian hot pepper. And these are cool because they point to the sun. This is such a cool plant. Really cool ornamental as well. But if you do want to spice up something, you can use one or two of those. If you roast them, they're not as intensely hot. So that's an excellent way to incorporate it into any dish. My chocolate cherry sunflowers have finished up for the season. And if you've watched my other videos, you saw how beautiful those were. I will definitely be growing those again. I think that's it for the quick walkthrough. So now it's time for my special announcement. So I've got all these watermelons growing. I've actually got a special hybrid watermelon growing, and it's a cross between a sugar baby watermelon and my yellow watermelons. And it's really cool because it's slightly bigger than a sugar baby watermelon, dark on the outside like a sugar baby, but on the inside it's yellow. And this thing is so sweet, and even sweeter than a yellow watermelon, but still with that tropical hint to it. They're just so good. So good. So I want to give you guys a chance to get hold of some of my melon seeds, my Tuscan melons and my watermelons. September 17th in Charlotte, North Carolina, we are holding a Veg Fest, and I will be there with a very limited supply of my seeds. And I will also be doing 1 and maybe 2 planting gardening demos, telling you guys the best way, well, not the best way, but the way that I grow my melons. And I plan on also having some kale seedlings for you guys that you can purchase along with my seeds if you'd like. So that's my special announcement. Hope you guys are excited. Oh, here's a couple. These were the raised beds that we built in January out of tree logs from trees that we cut down in our backwoods right here. We just had to clear some room to grow some blueberry bushes and make way for our little fig trees we have going on. But we did have carrots and potatoes and lettuce, which I gotta cut this bed of lettuce out still, growing during the early spring and late spring into the late spring. And now I have planted some more Tuscan melons, and I've got a watermelon plant right here. Super exciting. But yeah, back to my announcement about Veg Fest. Sorry about that. I am super excited to meet you guys. If you decide to come down, it's going to be held at Camp North End in Uptown Charlotte. It's a really cool venue, and I just can't wait. I'm excited. This is the first time ever I've made any of my seeds available to the public, because I save my seeds for myself. I'm just a backyard gardener. I don't market farm. We're still learning how to grow enough food for ourselves. So I thought that my first little Veg Fest would be a great opportunity to share some of my seeds and share any experience I have growing here in the garden, of course. And really, I just want to meet some like-minded people. So please come out and see me and hit that like button if you're excited about Veg Fest. And hey, as always guys, keep growing. And I just gotta show you this. Willie just harvested his own cucumber. And he's now eating it. Where did you get that, son? Did you pick that yourself? Oh my goodness. That's the garden life for you. Diva's like, where did you get that? I need one myself. Nori, what's up, girl? You say hello. Say hello to YouTube. I wish I could bring all of my dogs to Veg Fest. Actually, dogs are allowed at Veg Fest, but they're not allowed inside the building. So I could bring them maybe. Probably not though, probably not. Thanks for tuning in guys. Keep growing.